Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of my Majora's Mask Japanese like grammar explanation series Majiggy. I'm gonna cut this grass. Yeah, hope these are proving to be useful. Remember about the text document that I'll link in every part. I think unfortunately the game sound was a bit quiet last time, so hopefully it's a bit louder this time. No. All right. All right, what do we have here? Oh, okay, good. So we got Nanda Anobaka Umawa. Nanda. This is kind of just like saying like what. Like normally, what is nani, but when you use da with it, it just becomes nanda. And also with lots of other things, like you often say nano, which means again like what, but you have to put a noun with it afterwards. But nani quite often changes into nan, basically. And he's kind of like going nanda. I think this is sort of a little bit separate to this bit. He's like going, what the hell? That idiot horse. Baka, I'm sure you know baka. Baka means, you know, moron, you know, idiot. Here we've got what I was sort of discussing last time. This isn't kono, this isn't sono, this is ano, meaning that it is distant from the two of us discussing this now. It's like ano baka uma, that idiot horse. Yeah. Nanda ano baka uma wa. So like, what the hell, that idiot horse. And then this wa at the end, it kind of is, it feels like a bit of like an unfinished sentence in a way. Like there isn't, normally you would use wa to begin talking about something and then you'd say something about it, but he obviously hasn't. He's just letting the sentence end there, and his meaning is implied, basically. Zen zen yu koto o kikanai na. What's going on here? So these two are linked together, basically. Zen zen kikanai. Kiku means to listen. And kikanai is the negative form of that, so it's like to not listen. And zen zen is like not at all, not to any amount, like completely not. So it completely does not listen. And what does it not listen to? It does not listen to the yu koto. Koto meaning thing, and yu is just it just means say. So things that are said, it doesn't listen at all to what you say, the things you say, the things one says to it, doesn't listen at all. And then na at the end, same as the na in part 1 that he used, just kind of like rhetorically kind of demanding agreement. So it doesn't listen to anything that's said to it at all, does it? But he's not actually asking you to confirm that, you know. Nah. And again, probably just sounds a bit more blokey than saying nah. Oh, okay. I know there's one text box that that I'm going to have to pause, so I'm getting kind of ready for it. Anna no nottete mo shikata ga nai kara shitetoite yatta yo, hihi. Again, this is going back, like rather than saying konna or sonna, it's saying anna, which means that type of, that sort of. So that sort of thing. I think this no, it kind of stands in for the word thing in this case, or it stands in for the word. It stands in for like the horse, basically. You could say like anna uma, like such a horse, but you don't really need to. In this case, he's opted to just use no, anna no, that sort of thing, that sort of type of horse, but he's not explicitly stating horse or whatever. Anna no notte temo. God, this is kind of complicated. So noru means to ride. Noru is to ride something, or to be on something. And then notte, that's just the te form. I suppose it's like notte. Oh man, it's too complicated, this one. It's kind of like the continuous form of a verb. You say the te form and then you have iru after it. Notte iru. So it's notte iru. But because iru is so common in that form, you can often just omit the e. You don't need to. You don't need it. You could say, for example, notteru. You don't need the notte iru. You can just say notteru. And in this case, he's kind of omitting that and using the te form of it. So it would be notte ite. And then this mo kind of makes it into like an even if. I suppose this mo is kind of inclusive. It's like an inclusive particle that means that including even doing this, there is no point. God, that's complicated. Oh, man. So it's like, such a horse as that, even being in the state of riding it, there is nothing that can be done. So, I got rid of it for you. So that's what the mo's kind of doing. Even the mere act of being on it, riding it, and then shikata ga nai, it means like, basically nothing can be done. Nothing can be done to help the situation. Shikata ga nai. It's a very common phrase, actually, shikata ga nai. More commonly, probably, you'll hear shou ga nai, which is the same thing, but just means something cannot be helped. Something is just the way it is, and there's nothing that can be done to fix it. So, even being in a state of riding the horse, riding such a thing, there is nothing that can be done to help the situation. It's like completely useless. Even riding it is impossible. So, kara, so, steru, again, more complicated grammar here. Steru is to throw something away, to discard something. And then, wait, how does this even work? Yeah, okay. So steru is to throw something away. And this is a really shortened form of 2 grammar points together. Stete oku would mean to throw something away in preparation for something else. So the oku kind of means that you do something in preparation for something else. And you add the oku onto the te form of the verb that you're doing it. So stete oku means I threw it away in advance of this. In advance of something. I threw it away for you in advance of us meeting. Or something like that. But then what we've got... Oh my god, this is such a bloody complicated word. Is we've got stete oite, which is the te form of oku. So oku's te form is oite. So we've got kind of stete oite. But then what we do as well is because we've got stete and o next to each other, rather than saying stete-o, you can just say steto. So you've got stetoite. So stete oite becomes stetoite, just sort of shortening it down to make it easier to say, I suppose. And then at the end of this te form, we've got yatta, which I think kind of just means it adds a kind of roughness to the verb. It kind of means that I did it, I suppose, not recklessly, but I kind of did it, you know, kind of roughly without consideration. It's kind of a bit, maybe a bit disrespectful. So yeah, so we've got all of that combined into this one single verb here. Stetoite yatta. So normally this would just be yaru, but this is past tense. So because he's already done it, so it's stetoite yatta yo. So that was a text box and a half, wasn't it? Wow. So yeah, even being in a state of, you know, riding such a thing, nothing can be done to help the situation. So I kind of crudely discarded it in preparation, kind of for you in a way. Kind of like in preparation for us, even though we obviously didn't want him to do that because we want to keep our horse. That's what he's done. In advance of us arriving, he has crudely discarded of the horse. Wow. And then this yo at the end, just adding like insistence, or just, you know, telling us insistently that that's what he's done. And then hee is him laughing. Bloody hell. And then he's saying, Nanda sono kao wa. So Nanda is like, what? Like, what? That face? Like, kind of saying, like, why such a face? But yeah, what? That face? Like, why are you doing that face kind of thing? Sono kao. So kao is, you know, face or expression, I guess. And sono. Yeah, so he's talking to us about the face that we are making. So he can say sono. He can't say kono. I suppose he could actually, but that's why he's saying sono, is because we're making the face and he's talking to us. Sono kao wa sekkaku asonde yarou to omotta no ni. Sekkaku means to like do something that's kind of you don't usually say it about yourself, actually, but he is. But sekkaku is like, it's when you do something especially, so it kind of would have been a bit of a pain for you to do, but you've done it like kind of maybe for the sake of someone else, and it's been a pain to do, and you've done it especially for them. I've said this before, but I remember when I was like teaching out in Japan, I would go and teach like English in the classrooms or whatever, and if the kids weren't listening, the teacher would often say that I had sekkaku kita no ni, and it's like, I have come especially for the reason of teaching them, and I've gone to like great lengths and efforts to come especially to teach them, and they're not even listening. Which ties in actually to the no ni at the end here. This sort of expresses like disappointment and like regret that, yeah, that's basically what it does. It just kind of expresses disappointment and regret. So he's saying like, sekkaku asonde yarou to omotta no ni. I thought that we would kind of, you know, play. I thought that I would endeavour to play with you especially, and then no ni is like, you know, expressing regret that I'm kind of not willing. So he's kind of saying no ni, and it's sort of, I suppose, not regretful in his case, because he's not really feeling regret, but he's just sort of saying it's a shame. It's a shame that he thought that he would go to great lengths to kind of to play with us, and we're sort of, you know, not game. We're not really up for it. So the rest of it, yeah. So this verb here is asobu, which means to play. Asonde yaro. Again, I think this yaro is just being attached to like the te form of the verb, just to make it sound a bit rougher, basically. So asonde yaru would make it sound a bit rough. Yaro kind of expresses volition to do it. So it's asonde yaro. It's like, let's do it. Let's do it. It's real. I'm gonna, I'm definitely gonna do that sort of thing. This to is just a quotation particle in this case. So you often use to with when you think things or when you say things. It's a bit like if you had speech marks in English. You might say, for example, you might say, that's a bit weird, I thought. And you're kind of quoting precisely what you thought. That's what this is kind of doing here. It's quoting that this is what he was thinking, like word for word, what he thought. Although maybe not always the case. Basically, if you have omo, you're most likely going to see to before it. And yeah, as I said, also often used with the verb to say. I can't really think of an example. What might be a good example for this? Maybe if you're like quoting someone else, you might say like the teacher said, come back in. So in that case, you would say like, come back in to yutta yo. It's like you're quoting precisely what was said, and then you're putting the quotation particle of to, and then you're putting the verb, yutta, which is the past tense of you, which means, so the person said to come back in or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, this is past tense of omo. Omo is the verb to think, and to make it past tense, you do this to the end. You should replace the u with ta. Omotta. Omotta no ni. Okay, there it is. There's the text box. I have to pause. And he's saying, so, ima no oira ni kateru to omotteiru no ka? Manuke na yatsume. So, ima just means now. Ima no, I suppose, better translates to the current or the present. Oira is an interesting pronoun. It's basically just a pronoun. I don't know why he's opting for oira, to be honest. I suppose it has a slight kind of ore sound to it, ore vibe. And ore is a very blokish, very masculine and kind of rough, quite cool sounding way to refer to yourself. So I guess it kind of has that kind of vibe, oira. So the current me. This katsu is the standard verb form of this. Katsu means to win. And kateru is the potential form of that verb. So like to be able to win. Kateru. And basically when you use the verb katsu, you kind of use ni to say what you're going to win against. It's like, do you think you can win against me? Yeah. So this is potential form, kateru. Again, we've got this quotation mark, to, and then the verb omo, which means to think. And then, as I may have said before, although I don't think we've seen it yet, this is kind of present continuous form, omotte iru, as we saw with the nottetemo from the past text box. Omotte iru. So it's like iru means to be, doesn't it? It means to be or to exist, to currently be, I suppose, iru. So that's kind of how it works. It's like, do you exist in a state of thinking that you can win against the present me? And that's kind of why it is present continuous. It's like to exist, being, thinking. To exist, thinking that you can win against the present me. But the no and ka, the no makes it kind of inquisitive, and the ka is like a question. I feel like this is kind of probably a bit rude to say to people. It's kind of like demanding. It's kind of demanding an answer out of someone a little bit forcefully. No ka. It's sort of a bit rude. So don't go around saying this to people. But yeah, it's sort of it might even be like belittling that you're asking this, or that you're thinking this. It's sort of, yeah, it might be sort of belittling the fact that you seem to think this. It's like, do you really think you can win against the present me? Obviously very literal translation there, but I think that's probably better in this case to do that. And then he's saying manuke. Manuke is just kind of like foolish, I believe. Let me just look it up. It's that sort of vibe. Stupidity, idiot, dunce, blockhead. And we've got a na here, meaning that manuke is a na adjective. So you just need a na in between the adjective and the noun for it to actually even work. Otherwise it's just grammatically nonsense, or it doesn't work. So manukena yatsu. Yatsu just means like kind of like an insult, I suppose. It means like knobhead, dickhead, piece of shit, or whatever. Although I don't really feel like any of them are ever that as bad as they are as swear words in English. Swear words in English they're kind of swear words, you know, and they're kind of always going to be quite bad, maybe. But in Japanese, you could probably sometimes in the right context, you'd probably be able to say this fine without it, you know, without it getting too much of a bad reaction. But yeah, it's derogatory. And then me at the end, basically you add it on the end of sentences, to the end of like nouns, and it just sort of displays real like discontempt or like hatred for the thing that you put it after. So yeah, so yatsume, it's just kind of like really expressing hatred at the end. So yeah, now he does this Deku transforming thing. Just drinking some coffee here. Hope you're not hearing too much of that. Hey guys. Kind of made me laugh that bit, because you can kind of tell that he's not moving. You know, he's running, but he's just on the spot, just not moving. I don't know if we were supposed to be able to tell that. I don't think we were. Cool. Oh, it's okay. Okay, so we're saying hihi naka naka uniku na sugata da. Naka naka means like considerably, basically. Yeah, basically it means considerably. Yeah, I might just leave it at that. Unique. Unique means unique, surprisingly. I feel like... Yeah, I think it just means unique. I feel like it might have accidentally taken on a slightly different sense in Japanese, because a lot of English words do when they get put into Japanese. But yeah, uniku na, obviously it's a na adjective, because it has a na in between itself and the noun. And sungata, as we discussed already, means form, body, shape, or whatever. So, yeah. So a considerably unique sort of form. And then da, as I've said, is just the declarative. It kind of means like, means is, I suppose. Like, that is a considerably unique form. Kind of just states, it states that something is true, I guess, is what da does. It's kind of funny. Oh, we almost got it. Almost got away with it. Omae wa zutto sono sugata de koko ni iro. Omae, obviously he's calling us Omae, and because I called myself Omae, but I did it in English letters. So this is him actually calling me Omae as part of the script of the game. Zutto. Zutto just means like for a long time. It's kind of onomatopoeic language. Well, I suppose it's not actually. But there are lots of these kinds of words in Japanese where it's like one thing, a chisai tsu, a small tsu, and then a toe. Zutto, hotto, chotto. There's lots of these kinds of I feel like they might be adjectives actually, not adjectives, adverbs. They might be a certain form of adverb. So yeah, I suppose you could translate this as longly. For a long time. Longly. Sono sugata de, so it's like in that form, or by means of that form. Probably in is the best translation, isn't it? In that state. Koko, meaning here. Ni, just kind of a required preposition. In this place. In here, via that form, iro. And iro is like the imperative form of iru, which means to be. So iru would be to be, and iro is the imperative. So it's kind of like saying, be here in that way forever. Stay here, remain here. Yeah, it's imperative. So he's commanding us. Quite nastily to remain here in this form for a long time. And off he goes. I'll see you in a minute. Ow. Excellent. And then obviously we've got Ne-chan. Just stuttering again. He's always stuttering, isn't he? Just like sis. And obviously the chan and all that. We've discussed it already. Just kind of displaying familiarity and stuff. Okay. Mateo staru kedo. So matsu is to wait. Mate is the te form. Just kind of, a light request. Just saying wait. Yo, just kind of adding again, sort of more force to it. Matte yo staru kido. And the just, well, kind of as it is. Like, as you might say, expressing kind of a bit of surprise, I guess. Wait, Skull Kid. Watashi ga mada iru no ni. So watashi is I. Very general pronoun that means I. Men can use it. Women, pretty much all women use it. I believe watashi. Yeah, it's a very general pronoun, but I think most women will use watashi. I think atashi isn't actually used that much in real life, I don't think. Watashi ga mada iru no ni. I don't really want to go over ga. It's kind of the subject marker, I suppose. It's like the subject particle. But yeah, I don't want to get into it because it's too much. I don't even know really why wa wouldn't be used in this case. I think you could use either in this case, but she's sort of saying, perhaps she's saying, it's sort of insisting that I am still here. I am still here. No ni again, sort of expressing, although I am still here. And the sentence kind of hasn't ended, although I am still here, you have gone without me, kind of thing. That's kind of what no ni is there. Mada meaning still, iru meaning to be, so I am still here. And I feel like the ga is probably throwing emphasis on the first part here. Even though I am still here, you have gone off. Without explicitly stating that. Toreru, icha dame yo. So again, we've got that grammar form from part 1. Iku meaning to go. Icha dame just means like to go is unacceptable. To go is not okay. Toreru is just his name. Yo, just adding force to it, as you know already. Chotto. So chotto has sort of lots of meanings. It can mean like small. It can just like I don't want to say belittle, sort of insignificasize something when you're saying it. So honestly, I feel like right now, like a common phrase is chotto matte, which means wait just a little bit, wait a little, wait a little second. So this is probably honestly just omitting the matte, omitting the word wait. So it's just going chotto. No, wait, no, maybe not. It like I say, it might just be like downplaying the significance of what someone's about to say or what someone's asking. So she might just be saying like, sort of kind of being a bit modest maybe. Like going, Chotto, could you open the door for me? Kind of has that sort of vibe to it a lot of the time. Chotto. Like often when people sort of reject invitations and stuff or whatever, they might just say like "sore wa chotto" and then just end the sentence there. Like you don't need to actually say the reason that you're rejecting something. You just kind of say like "that's a little," and then you kind of just let it. That kind of speaks for itself. It's like it expresses to the other person that you don't want to outright say no, but that it's not, you kind of can't do it. So chotto kind of has that kind of vibe to it as well. Yeah, I feel like it kind of downplays the significance of things sometimes. So she's kind of maybe trying not to seem too forward in this case, maybe. But anyway, so in chotto. Anta no aite shite tara. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I'm not using the mouse, am I? Anta no aite shite tara. I don't really understand what's going on here, because aite usually means like a partner. Let me have a look here. Or maybe it just means like, maybe it can mean opponent. Companion, partner, company, other party, addressee. Yeah, apparently it can mean opponent in sports and stuff. Okay, that's interesting. And this is suru. This would be suru is the default form, but it's the, oh man, we've got too much going on here. So we've got kind of suru, which is the do, or to act as in this case, to act as your like rival or opponent. And it would be again like it was before, the present, it's not present continuous, kind of past continuous. There's a lot to unpack here. So it should be shite itara, but we've omitted the e in the middle because it's so common that, you know, people just don't say it. So shite itara, and last time we saw tara, it was like conditional form. It was like, if this happens, something, something, something. But it can also mean when something happens. Best example I suppose I can think of is kaiettara hanasou, which kind of means like, when you return home, let's talk. And that's because, of course, that person is going to come home. So you're not going to say kaiettara in the sense of if you come home, because of course that person's coming home. So kaiettara hanasou is like, when you come home, let's talk. So this tara here is when I was like acting is what suru's doing. When I was acting as your kind of like your rival during the time that I was, you know, picking on you, I suppose, or engaging with you. Ototo to hagure chatta janai no. So ototo is just little brother, to is with, so with my little brother. Hagureru, I've got to look that up. Hagureru, yeah, it just means to stray from a subject, or to get lost from, so to separate from. Hagure, so hagureru means to get separated from. And there's this form of chao, obviously this is not that, this is the past tense form of that, but hagure chao would be quite normal. And the chao expresses that it's an undesirable result of the verb. So obviously she didn't mean to get separated from her brother, so she can say, with my brother I got separated, and the chao just expresses that was undesirable, or unexpected, undesirable in this case. As I've said, it's past tense, hagure chatta. And then janai, obviously that's negative. Normally that means negative. But in this case it's kind of yelling at Link. It's like saying, from my brother, you know, didn't I get separated from him? It's sort of like, I suppose, inquiring about the result, isn't it? Didn't I just get separated from my brother because I was, you know, messing about with you? Yeah, I suppose in a way it's kind of asking you to deny it, is the sort of vibe to it. It's kind of asking you to deny it, daring you to deny it. Like, yeah, didn't I just get separated from my brother because of you, sort of thing. And then the no, as we know, is kind of just very kind of inquisitive, but it's rhetorical in this case. It's not obviously expecting an answer. It's just inquisitive. It's like, didn't that just happen? Doshite kureru no yo. So I think this is suru again, the same sort of suru as we had up here, which means to act. And this, as we know, do means how or in what way. So in what way are you going to act? And then kureru is like asking someone to do something for you. Kureru. It's I think it started off as kind of being quite humble, but it just became standard form for kureru to mean when someone does something for you, you say kureru, because they're kind of doing it for you, and you as an automatically humble person in Japanese, you're going to use kureru, which kind of means that they're doing it from a position above you, downwardly as a favor to you. So that's kind of what kureru probably originally meant, but now it's become so ingrained that it might not necessarily have that kind of humble vibe to it, but just if someone's doing something for you, they are shite kureruing it. They're kureruing to you. And if you do something for someone else, you shite ageru. You do it upwardsly. Because you are beneath them by default in Japanese society, you're doing a favor for them upwardly to them. Pretty tough to explain, but it sort of allows you to always know who's doing what for who. She's saying kureru, so she obviously wants something from us downwardly, and we are doing something upwardly for her from our perspective, so it's ageru. We're doing it ageru for her. So basically she's just asking, what are you going to do for me? We've got no, inquisitive, and yo, just again kind of adding force to that. What are you going to do for me now then? Because I've gotten separated from my brother. Nani yo, sono kao wa. So quite similar to what the Skull Kid said to us, actually. He said, nanda sono kao. But she's saying, nani yo sono kao wa. So what? What's up? What are you looking at? What's the problem? That face. Or kind of why are you making such a face, I guess. Watashi no kao ni nanka tsuiteru. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I don't know if you can hear that. Tummy's rumbling a bit there. So watashi no kao ni. So to my face, essentially. Nanka. As we saw earlier, nanika means something. Something. And so this is just a slight shortening of that. From nanika, we've just got nanka, which is the same meaning, something. And then tsuku, which is the default form of this verb. Tsuku is to sort of be attached to something. So what might be a good example? I suppose anything really. Maybe if you're like I don't know really. Maybe if you've got like your keys on like a key ring, for example, are they are attached to it. They are kind of tsuku. You might have heard my keys there. That's why I chose that example. So it just means that it's attached to something, tsuku. And this is tsuite, which is the te form of tsuku, tsuite. And then again, we've omitted the i in iru, just making it into kind of present continuous form. So it should be like nanka tsuite iru. But, she's just speaking as normal people would. She's omitting the e. So does something exist in the state of being attached to my face? Is something stuck to my face? Is what she's saying. Anmari jiro jiro minai de yo. Anmari kind of means excessively, I suppose. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Anmari. I think it means like excessively. Jiro jiro, I think, is just like an adverb for looking at something. My dictionary just says like staringly, scrutinizing. Are the two sort of definitions there. So jiro jiro, I suppose, just means to like look at someone for an excessively long time, maybe to stare at someone. And then miru is to look. Minai is the negative form of that, so to not look. And if you put de at the end of the negative form, it's a bit like a te form request to not do something. So she's saying, do not look. do not look staringly excessively. So do not look at me so much. Don't look at me. Don't stare at me, basically. But yeah, this might be quite a good form to learn. Minai de, don't look. Tabenai de, don't eat. Shinanai de, don't die. Whatever really. Yeah, just take the negative form of the verb and add de onto the end, and you've got a request not to do something. And then yo again, just adding force or emphasis onto the end. Ne sore yori ano tobira do ni kashite what is this? Akenasai yo, I believe. So ne is just like, hey, sort of kind of just asking, requesting our attention, or trying to get our attention, I guess. Ne sore yori. Yori is a bit of like a comparative verb. It doesn't, like in English we have to state which way the comparison goes. In English we have to say more than or less than. Yori kind of just means than. So yeah, so it's not it kind of means more than in this case, but it doesn't always mean more. I suppose it does kind of mean to a greater extent than this thing. Anyway, so sore yori is like than that, more importantly than that. I believe. Yori can also mean from, though, which is a bit weird. Sore yori. I think it's like saying more importantly than the last text box, more importantly than everything we've just said, more importantly than the thing that may or may not be stuck to her face. That door, ano tobira, do ni kashite, in some way, act, or in some way, act and open the door is basically what she's saying. So do something to open the door. Do ni ka, I believe, just means like, yeah, something. Like she doesn't know herself what you're going to do, so she's kind of saying do ni ka, I believe. In some way or other, one way or another. She doesn't know, what we're going to do, but she's saying just open it somehow. So act in some way, and then akeru is the verb like to open. Akeru. And then this kind of ake nasai, it sounds very motherly to me. It sounds like a kind of a teacher or a mother asking their child to do something. Is this nasai? So you're not really ever going to have to use it, I don't think, unless you become a teacher. Or a mother. But yeah, ake nasai. It sounds a bit odd, her asking us to do this. But that's the vibe they wanted in the game. So she's saying ake nasai yo. Excuse me. Yeah, yo, just adding force to it. Kayowai onna no ko ga tanonderu no yo. Kayowai, I believe, just kind is. I think it might be a kind of a combination of kawaii, meaning like, a sweet girl, a sweet, sweet little girl or whatever, a lovely little girl, and yowai, meaning weak. I think it's a bit of a combination, like a sweet little, poor little, weak little girl. I seem to be wrong, though, according to my dictionary. Kayowai just means like frail or feeble. So yeah. So it's not a combination of those words, but it does kind of mean a poor little helpless girl. Onna means like female, basically, or woman. A ko means like child. So therefore, onna no ko is a girl, basically, a female child, a girl. Ga, again, just saying the subject. So, a sweet little girl is the one that is requesting something. Ta no mu is the dictionary form of to request something. Ta no mu. So to make it te form, it becomes tanon de. And then again, we've omitted the i, tanon de iru, making it present continuous form, tanon de iru, existing in a requesting state, exist in the requesting state. So less literally just a poor little girl is asking. No yo, again, just kind of... this is kind of the opposite of... In the past, this has always been used with questions, this no. But the no in this case is kind of the other way round, where rather than requesting information very inquisitively, we are telling information very kind of definitely. Tanonderu no yo, and then the yo is just added for emphasis. And then hayaku shite yo, hayaku shite yo. Hayai is an e adjective meaning quickly or promptly, and hayaku, if you change the e to ku, it becomes an adverb. So it's like quickly. And then suru. Suru means, again, like to do or to act or to happen. But when used with adverbs, it just means to make something be the adverb. So to make it quick, I guess you could say, to do something quickly. And again, the yo added for emphasis. Oh, I thought I was done there. This is just a noise. She's just going an, I believe, toreru. So an toreru. Anoko. So that child, basically that boy. Talking about the skull kid. That child. Hitori de daijobu kashira. Hitori meaning like one person. Or hitori de means by oneself or on one's own, by means of one person, via one person, on his own, alone, basically. And daijobu, you probably already know, means, you know, will they be okay? Will they be all right? Oh, wait a minute. Is she talking about the Skull Kid? Yeah, I think she is talking about the Skull, because in English she's talking about the Skull Kid, isn't she? And before this she says toreru, so it's like she's imagining she's talking to her little brother. I don't know. I'm not sure. Could be talking about her little brother here. But if in Japanese she is talking about her little brother, then they really messed up the English translation, I think. Or I've just misunderstood the text box my whole life. Okay, I'm not really sure, but could be talking about Tail, could be talking about the Skull Kid, I'm not sure, but basically saying by themselves. A kashira is kind of like, it's a woman's only grammar thing. Like men can't say kashira. But kashira, it means to wonder, basically. So I wonder if they will be all right on their own. Men would say kana, I believe. So kana can be used by both men and women. Kashira is women only. So yeah, will that child on their own like be okay? To be okay, I wonder, is what's going on. And wow, yeah, we only got to here in part 2. So it's pretty ridiculous, but that's how it is, I guess. Remember the text document in the description. I suppose I might as well mention that I have a Patreon account. If you want to support, don't expect people to, but I might as well mention it. But yeah, we'll continue obviously in the next part. Thanks for watching. Hope it's been worthwhile, and I'll see you next time.